Microaggressions and chronic stress in 2019 nearly broke me, but they also taught me how to thrive through, and I'm gonna tell you how in this video. So, for myself and a lot of other Black women professionals in the workspace, one, having the intersection of gender and race is often seen as a double-edged sword, because it is, in terms of what we deal with. And microaggressions are subtle, nuanced behaviors, sayings, things like, oh, like for me, my hair. Like, I had people, 2019, I actually shaved half my head off. Again, my hair was combed. It wasn't like I just got up and rolled off the bed, but I was dealing with people literally in meetings that would stare at me, at my head rather, not at me, at my head while I was speaking. Just behaviors, nuances. And what this leads to is doubts about yourself, questioning, overworking, over delivering, trying to overcompensate for perceived, not reality, perceived shortcomings. And as a result, I learned to invest in myself and to do some work and to develop some strategies and tools. And I did some of that with a coach, investing and just getting out there and acknowledging and finding the language, honestly, about what I was experiencing, because that's half the battle I learned in becoming a coach and working with women professionals, is that half the time when you don't have the language for something, you can't label it. And that means you can't process it correctly, which means it just stays there. Right. And this is a strategy and a tactic that people use in power to kind of disenfranchise people of color, Black people specifically, because that's who I'm talking to in this video. But the way that we do that, it makes you question yourself, right? This is why in the beginning they didn't want us to read, right? They didn't want us to learn, because if you have a language, you can make sense of things. And because as human beings, we have to make meaning, right? That's really what makes us distinctively human comparison to other groups of people, is our ability to give things meaning. And so when you don't have the ability to name something, you can't give it the proper description, you can't give it the proper language, and therefore you cannot properly respond, right? And so I say all this to say, this pulled me into creating my company, which is Pink Flamingo Retreats, and where I coach women, I host events for Black women professionals to come in and get restored and healed, because like pink flamingos, people don't see, unlike pink flamingos, actually, people don't see us when we lose our color, right? When we get depleted. Pink flamingos lose their color, and it kind of signals to the community they need to be left alone, they need a break, they need to be restored. That's not our case, right? We told people, even after the election, 92%ers, that we're done, we're resting, right? But I want us to rest and recover and restore ourselves to our ambitions and our goals, and protect ourselves along the way. And so with microaggressions, they tend to deplete you mentally, right? They start to break down your thinking patterns, how you see yourself, your self-worth. You start to question that. Some of the behaviors, it leads to chronic stress, right? You can't sleep at night. You're thinking about that comment in the meeting from 2 days ago. You are overwhelmed with the level of perception that you have to navigate and respond to. And ultimately, it leads to a body that is completely in hypervigilance all the time. And these are the symptoms that I talk to my clients about, because no one's paying you to go through all this. And so there's a couple of strategies I like to give people. And what we have to start doing is acknowledging, right, what's going on with you, what you're experiencing, what is happening. That is the first step, acknowledgement. And then really understanding what you want for yourself now, right? And so I say all this to say I am having a webinar in 2 days. And I would love for you to be there. One, I'm going to restructure it a little bit differently, just come out of this MLK Day yesterday and the foolishness that went on as well. I feel like Black women need a space to where we can also learn and teach each other strategies, but also just a safe space, because the other thing that doesn't happen is we don't have a lot of support in these structures and in these spaces. And that's another reason why I created my business, was so that I could create a safe space for Black women to come in. We have to get it out. We have to verbalize what we're going through. We have to share things with people who understand us. And part of the challenge with that, if you're the only one in corporate America like myself, out of like literally all my friends and family, I was the only one in corporate America in technology. And so that left me with, like, I would express things even once I could find the language, but not being able to find people who can validate my experiences and support me throughout those, and just normalize that that's not normal, that's not okay. And that I'm okay for thinking that that was a problem. You know, those types of experiences really elevate who you are and really center and protect it in a way that allows you to navigate nuanced environments and not necessarily automatically assumed the negative intention or automatically lean towards that. And I'm not saying it's your fault, but we are on guard. So we have, like, we assume what we need to assume to protect ourselves. But sometimes that's not the case. And sometimes it is just feedback. And sometimes you do need to pivot. And sometimes, hey, you might need to get a little bit more organized. So it's hard for Black women in a professional space to know where they need to actually make adjustments sometimes, because we can't always trust the source, because we're dealing with so much coming at us that we didn't necessarily create the environment for. We just kind of walked into it. And because of biases, other people's experience, people's generalizations about what Black women, who they are, what they can do, what they should be doing, how they should look, all of this nuance, leaves itself to us doing a lot of explaining, a lot of sharing, a lot of just exposing ourselves in ways that really don't elevate our potential, our assets, our businesses, or our career advancement. And I don't want that for us. I want us to have success with greater ease and connection and community. And that's what this moment is for, the moment of community. So I say all this to say, again, I'm having a webinar. The link is in my bio, but it's for 1 hour. And I would like for you to join, one, so that you can meet like-minded women like yourself, as well as to learn some of the strategies I've taught as a certified coach for the past 5 years, essentially. And I want to also build a bridge of community within us as well, to see that you're not alone and to hear, some of the stories from each other, so that you can validate your experiences and really honor yourself and what you want to do next in 2025, and how you're going to make this your moment to thrive. And if that is interesting to you, please join me. I would love to hear and see you on this call, and can't wait to see you there.